Firearm Fundamentals by the WFA. This is a video series covering firearm information in a concise and easy to understand format to teach the basics of firearms. Today's presentation is regarding a specific firearm action, the bolt action. The bolt action was designed in the early 19th century, being based off the breech loading design, and is still in widespread use today due to its inherent accuracy, durability, and simplicity. In this demonstration, we will discuss the operation of the firearm as well as general maintenance and cleaning. Whenever we work with firearms, the first thing we want to do is make sure that we're following Axe and Prove. To do that, we're going to have to start by removing the magazine. There's a small button right here that will eject it. As you can see, the magazine is empty. And next we want to make sure that the chamber is clear. So to do that, we're going to pick up the bolt handle here and tilt it upwards. This will unlock it, which will allow us to pull it backwards. Now that we've pulled it backwards, we can inspect the inside of the chamber. So, as you'll see in here, we check inside the feeding path to make sure there's no bullet in there. And then also, inside of the chamber at the beginning of the barrel, we check for a bullet in there as well. We don't see anything in there, which is good, which means our gun's unloaded. So, the next step would be to remove the bolt. This can happen in many ways, depending on the type of gun. This one in particular has a button on the side of the receiver. So, I remove the bolt, and now we'll begin looking at the bolt. Now we're going to cover the topic of the bolt. So, we've taken the bolt apart here, and different manufacturers do this different ways, so we're not going to show that. However, most of them have pretty similar parts. So to begin, we have the actual bolt itself. This is pretty much just a large piece of steel that's responsible for holding most of the parts. As you can see, it has these lugs on here, which is what's used to lock the bolt inside of the receiver so that it doesn't fly out when shooting. So, one of the most critical parts of the bolt is the firing pin assembly. So as you can see here, we have a firing pin. This has got a small kind of bulbous point here, which is used for impacting the primer of the bullet. This is what causes the bullet to go off. And the way that this works is, when the gun is cocked, the bolt is lifted up and brought backwards, which brings this back in place and has it locked by the trigger. The spring, the firing pin spring, applies tension to it and is held in place so that when the trigger is pulled, it's released. This causes the firing pin to go forward, striking the primer and firing the bullet. So, another important aspect of the bolt is obviously the bolt handle. This piece locks inside, and this is obviously what you use to actuate the firearm. Another part here is the shroud or cover for the bolt. Some guns have this, some don't. This one is designed as a protective cover, and it also has other functions depending on which gun model you use. Now the firearm is unloaded, we begin the cleaning process. To begin, we're going to start by running a patch that has a bore cleaner on it through the barrel using one of these rods. So, we're going to start with the wet one. As you can see, we're going to run this through the barrel. Now, it's really important to note when pushing a patch through that you only push it forwards and not backwards. This is because you don't want to drag contaminants through the barrel back into the receiver. Now that we've run a wet patch, we're going to start by using a brush. And we're going to put that in as well. And this will clean off lots of the carbon buildup that gets stuck inside the barrel. After that, we're going to go ahead and use a wet patch again. As you can see here. Make sure we take it off so that we don't drag contaminants back in the barrel. And we're going to finally finish off by using a dry patch. And this is to clean off all the extra barrel cleaner that may be left inside of there. And again, make sure that you don't drag the patch back through the thing. Alright, now our barrel should be clean. Now we're going to show a loading and unloading process for a bolt action rifle. So, just to be clear, this is a snap cap. This is an inert round that's made out of plastic. There's no powders, there's nothing. This is just a training tool that's designed to replicate the size of a bullet so that you can safely unload and load a firearm. Just to be extra clear. So, the first step that we're going to take in loading and unloading the gun is putting the bolt back in. So to do that, some guns may have certain technicalities like squeezing the trigger while pressing a button. This one just pushes right in. So we're going to open up the bolt like that. Alright, to begin we're going to show how to load from a magazine. So here's your bullet. It goes inside of the magazine right here. And so this will go inside of the gun and click in. Now all we do is close the bolt and the gun is loaded. To unload this gun, we're going to first off remove the magazine. As you can see, there's no bullet in there, it's inside of the gun. And we're going to open up the bolt and pull it back to eject it. Here's our bullet, and as you can see, there's nothing inside of the receiver and there's nothing inside of the chamber. So this gun is unloaded. Now, there's another way to load it as well. Put this magazine in, which is loading directly from the breech. To do this, we simply take our bullet and we drop it inside of the receiver like this and close the bolt. This does pretty much the same thing, except instead of loading from the magazine, it loads above the magazine. So, same process. In order to unload it, we remove the magazine, make sure that it's empty, and we open up the action. And as you can see, there's no bullet inside of here and there's no bullet inside of the chamber, so this gun is unloaded. This has been Bolt Action Rifles on WFA Firearm Fundamentals.